Hi, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you to this episode of All Things Lean. My name is Madhulika Rajrahan, mother, author, green energy enthusiast, and a certified Lean Six Sigma black belt expert. In today's episode, we will talk about three-way comparisons, which is a convergent ideation method used in the ideation phase of design thinking. Resemblances are the shadow of differences. Different people see different similarities and similar differences. These are the words by famous author Vladimir Nabokov. So, what do we mean when we say three way comparison? Three way comparisons are a convergent ideation method designers use to map their assumption and tacit knowledge about familiar domains to new domains. They compare three related items in all possible combinations to uncover hidden attributes, understand the problem domains better, and find insights to use them innovatively. So, how do we find more about in each by comparing the three things? A vital skill underpinning a designer's creativity is to bring tacit knowledge out into the open where it can be analyzed and insights shared. Sometimes we have deep held assumptions about designs, concepts, etc. These can range from an item's smallest qualities to a critical factor of mental model users adopt when encountering problems in context. If we take things for granted, we might overlook crucial points. That's why it's essential to isolate errors in how we envision design related matters and hopefully pinpoint previously unheard of ways to access users. Whenever we compare similar things, we can clearly map what makes them distinct as we systematically examine each's quality. The simplest way is to compare two items. By asking what's similar and different, you can quickly compile a list. So, by identifying and discussing the distinctions between, say, a menu on a web page versus on a phone, you can make sense of the various characteristics of each. However, a three way comparison can help you uncover far more. This approach comes from a repertory grid technique used to match personality traits. It's especially useful for exposing and expressing qualities which might otherwise lie buried under assumptions and biases. For example, you might compare a drop down menu with a cascading menu with a pie menu. By starting with how is A like B but different from C, you proceed through different orders of comparison. For example, how is C like A but different from B? Consequently, you'll force yourself to stretch beyond those obvious standard differences and engage the subject much more open mindedly. For example, we compare grapes are similar and smaller. One serving contains more of them. Apples, on the other hand, are contiguous, whereas oranges are segmented. Oranges are the messiest to eat, whereas grapes are to wine as apples are to cider. The priority you give helps define how you see the world. By making these distinctions, you expose the categories you've involved. Also, when you list these inherent qualities or categories, etc., it's far easier to spot new differences more easily and potentially new context of use. So, how do we go about using this three way comparison? First is to pick three designs of products in the domain you're interested in. One of these can be your own if you work in that domain. They should be similar, so you or your user must put effort into considering differences between them. If, for example, you're designing a new user interface menu and you want to understand the domain better, you can choose three existing menu types. For a comparison, you can choose drop down versus cascading versus a pie. Comparing each design to the other two. Here's where you identify your own assumptions. Write down how each differs from the other. For example, from comparing how the drop down differs from the cascading and the pie menus. You notice a drop down menu is horizontal and simpler. Keep going as long as possible. If stuck, try to consider a different dimension in which you compare the menus. To make comparisons involving your users, sitting down with one user at a time, show them the different designs and ask them to compare these. For example, list as many ways you can to think about how a drop down menu is different from a cascading menu or a pie menu. Write down what each user lists as different. Users will likely soon get stuck, but encourage them to persevere, but assuring them that no comparisons are silly. You can also encourage them to compare the designs in other dimensions which they haven't considered yet. As users can find this hard, it's best to keep adding users until no new attributes are mentioned. Consider the list of attributes in relation to the domain you want to design for. For making comparisons, you will have three lists of attributes, one for each design. If you are involved user, you should combine the users list. So you have a list for each design that summarizes what every user said. Therefore, in the menu example, you have a list of attributes for each type of menu. Now go through each list and analyze how well this type of menu would work in your particular user interface. Do any attributes make it a good fit? Do any make it ill-suited? Have your users got any negative assumptions about the design that might make it problematic? Could you change the menu type somehow to make them a better fit? Overall, remember that making three-way comparisons mean you can dig deep breath the biases and assumptions that we usually never notice or voice because they seem so self-evident. This might be the deciding factor behind whether you accidentally sink time into an unremarkable idea or you pinpoint vital insights early on to power a truly innovative design. With this, we come to an end to this edition of an All Things Lean. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment in the comments section. And I'd like to know what you'd like to hear more. Until next time, this is your host, Madhulika Rajruhan, signing off. Have a wonderful day ahead.